Apparently, the various parties involved in the war in Iran, they don't quite grasp the concept of a ceasefire because no one is ceasefiring. But I said this would happen, that we will wind up the situation. But on the downslope, you'll hear it's all settled, it's all over, it's all good, greatest deal ever. And then you'll see this flurry of activity and fighting, and this is to be expected. This is not our first rodeo, but I do believe this will be wrapped up sooner than later, and it's going to be great for financial markets. Just got to hang in through the rope-a-dope back and forth as we work forward. Now, we got a lot of big news to go over. A big deal by Ripple. We got XRP news. We got possibly Satoshi being unmasked. Do we care? Does it matter? Well, we're going to dig into it. Charles Hoskinson sure says it matters. And just a lot of news. Let's start with this first one because it's not apparent at first glance why this is such a big deal, and it is huge. Ripple just extended a $250 million credit line to Gemini. Now, this isn't just a big business move for Ripple. We see here, buried in the terms, is the real story. Gemini must hit RLUSD holding and activity thresholds or face interest rate hikes from 7% to 10%. Now, Ripple right now, the full credit line, $250 million. You best believe they want 7% and not 10%. We've seen the deals with Circle where they have to give Coinbase ownership. Well, not with Ripple. They're able to get Gemini to incorporate their stablecoin and to actually use it and to hit certain thresholds via a loan, via financing. Every time Gemini is going to need cash here, and they probably will, Ripple tightens those requirements, ups them, makes sure that this will be the premium digital asset, cryptocurrency, stablecoin on their exchange. It's a big deal here. Ripple, they don't need to buy these exchanges. They're financing RLUSD adoption here, and they're protected. They get that money back plus interest, and you still have to use RLUSD. This is a big one. And guess what? By using it, they'll be more competitive and they'll be a better business. That's a big deal in its own right here. Now, XRP just dominated global crypto ETF inflows here. 220 million in total flows for all crypto assets over the last week. XRP led with 120 million, outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum on a relative basis here. Now, Switzerland, they captured most of this. 157 million, about 70% of the worldwide flows went through one country's ETP infrastructure here. Europe, they're not waiting on clarity here in the US. They're running out ahead. Standard Charter is still calling for $2.80 for XRP in 2026. And I think it's absolutely possible. Look, we could go much higher than that. We just got to get a little runway here. And it seems like things may be opening up. We will see. Breaking, Ripple CLO Stuart Alderati just joined the board of Evernorth Holding. Again, that is the SPAC, the XRP Treasury Company, going public on the NASDAQ under the ticker XRPN. Now, this isn't a coincidence. Evernorth just filed their amended S4 with the SEC yesterday. $1 billion plus raised, $473 million in their treasury, backed by Ripple, SBI, Pantera, Kraken, Arrington Capital, and Chris Larson himself. Now, they're running the MicroStrategy playbook minus all the obscene debt. They don't not loaded down by that debt. Built for using XRP to grow XRP per share, being productive here. TradFi to get that structured equity exposure to XRP without having to touch crypto directly or crypto wallets. And you see Ripple really tying a lot of executives and people from their team into this company. I think it's really important. I think this is going to, again, just show that an XRP DAT should trade above the value of its XRP. Why do we care about that? Because the biggest DAT in the world is Ripple themselves with all the XRP they hold. And they can do the same thing even more. This is going to prove the concept. Further beyond that, we want in our ecosystem a premium DAT, one that can be successful, that gives investors that type of optionality if this is what they want. I don't know if myself specifically if I'm going to be buying this DAT, but we want this in our ecosystem, so those that want that option can take it, and we will see what they can do here. Look, if they can grow your XRP per share, this will be a great investment. We will see as we go forward. You got a lot of big backers here. Now we see Adam Back. They're saying Adam Back is Satoshi. Got a lot of reasons. This is from the New York Times, of course. Charles Hoskinson said the minute Satoshi is doxxed, it's bad for Bitcoin. He goes on to say, look, it's been a huge advantage. You have this unknown person that created Bitcoin. We don't know who he is. We can't attack him. That advantage may be lost here. We will have to see. But as soon as, let's just say Adam Back, he is Satoshi. Well, that brings up a lot of questions. Did Adam go to Epstein's Island? Why was Epstein an investor in his company for a while before they bought him out, made him leave the company? Like, it gives you a lot more attack vectors that Bitcoin hasn't had to deal with. Charles says, look, there's a lot of people that hate Cardano. They hate ADA just because they don't like Charles. It's not fair. It's not right. There's people that don't like, various people within the XRP ecosystem. Bitcoin's never had that, but they may here shortly because there's a lot of evidence. None of it says 100% with certainty. Adam's always been one of the top suspects, of course, and it just may be him. We will see, but it seems like they're closing in on him. And I think he will have to admit sooner than later that he is actually Satoshi, and that will be interesting how Bitcoin responds to that. Genius Act getting teeth here. U.S. Treasury moving forward. AML, CFT compliant here. Rules for stablecoin issuers requiring them to block, freeze, and reject transactions. This is not very blockchain, is it? Stablecoin issuers will be treated as financial institutions under the Bank Secrecy Act. And so you hear a lot of times, why would anyone need XRP anymore? We have stable coins, they're a way of making payments, they're efficient. Look, this is why we need actual cryptocurrencies, things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. Again, these are true cryptos. They can't be debased, they can't be frozen, they can't be taken. That's not the case with stablecoins. Stablecoins are a great tool, a great way to link TradFi to blockchain. Great, yay for that. But it is not a replacement. It never has been, never will be a replacement for true cryptocurrencies. It just shows you that demand is going to be there. Now, Bernstein, they just dropped a quantum report on Bitcoin. They said, look, it's not all doom and gloom. We're looking at probably a 3 to 5 year runway to prepare. And from a technological standpoint, again, that can be done. Bitcoin will get the tech done. But the real problem is the old wallets that are exposed. We're going to have to decide, what do we want to do with about 1.7 million Bitcoin, including 1 million to 1.1 million that's attributed to Satoshi and all these other early addresses here. What are we going to do? Are we going to burn his coins? Is that fair? Should we just say, well, if he doesn't move them, they get stolen and to the thief goes the spoils? Like, I don't know what to do here, but we're going to have to discuss this as we create arguments and forks and all sorts of stuff. It's not as easy as people will make it sound. From a tech standpoint, that part will get done. But as a decentralized technology, what do we do? If people have keys, if I had the keys here, I should have my crypto, but we might say, no, sorry, Satoshi, we got to burn your coins. Or maybe Adam has to log in and move those coins if he still has access. We'll find out. Jamie Dimon, he's been saying crypto's a fraud for a long time. He just admitted that crypto's competition. We know this. We've been talking about this. JP Morgan is one of the biggest developers and spenders in the blockchain space. They're one of the original partners of R3 till they went off to do stuff with Ethereum. They've known the whole time. Pay attention to what they do, not what they say. But in the annual letter here, Jamie Dimon says we have a whole new set of competitors that are emerging based on blockchain. Again, this is the same guy that's been saying crypto's a fraud. He's now telling shareholders they need to roll out their own blockchain technology, JPM coins, a lot of commercial papers. They've been doing it quietly for years, but they're getting ready to wake up here. It's not going to be so quiet much longer. Tom Lee saying the bottom is in, and he's predicting a sharp recovery. Like me, he's saying the war's winding down. Again, markets look ahead, so you can't wait till it's all over Red Rover. You got to kind of front run that. If you're wrong, you get smoked, but it is what it is. And he's saying, look, 70% of the S&P 500 has already been through rolling bear markets. And it's really at the time where we should expect a recovery here. Is that going to happen? Well, if it does, it could be quite explosive for crypto markets and, of course, stock markets as well. Let's see how it plays out. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.